Hello there and welcome back to Generation What, where we are sharing all of the latest and greatest generational news,
insight, advice, strategies,
what have you, all of the above. Thanks for watching, thanks for being here. Today we're diving into the modern workplace because obviously a lot has changed this year. Really? What's gonna change? What's gonna stay the same? So let's get to it, shall we? First and foremost, love to start with this one because without it, we are lost, and that is communication. Now, communication has potentially changed the most out of anything in our workplaces right now because, wake up call, there's not a lot of options right now. We are really communicating on video meetings, on phone calls. There's not a lot of face-to-face interaction. So as far as communication goes, who knew we would be having 5 generations, not only in the same work environment, but in the same Zoom room, right? And so dealing with that is actually becoming kind of a struggle, and it's an interesting challenge to engage each of the 5 generations effectively when you're only given the option of communicating either video or phone call. Traditionalists are more formal communicators, as we know. Boomers more transitional. They started with snail mail with the older forms of communication and had to transition to the newer technologies. Gen X, direct, very direct communicators. Don't call them when it could be an email, am I right? Millennials, very digital communicators, and Gen Z, very visual. So all of these are very important to keep in mind as you're handling these 5 generations. So now more than ever, it's important to communicate and maybe even survey your teams, figure out what works for each person and what works for the team as a whole. For example, some of the longer meetings where you're sitting on a call for several hours, that might not work for some of your younger generations that have the attention span of a goldfish, believe it or not. So we gotta keep things lively, entertaining, we gotta keep them quick. Find different ways to engage, show videos, put out polls, increase that communication because it's so easy to just fall into the turn off your camera, turn off your sound, and just sit there and not really focus, but zone out type of situation. So make sure you're thinking about that. Give a time and a place. Let millennials, Gen Zers stay on a little bit longer if they're interested in getting feedback from you. Give them that opportunity because they can't just stop by your desk anymore and ask, hey, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing well this month? Give them that opportunity because feedback is so important to a lot of these younger generations. And the other point we're going to cover today is connection. So we start with communication, we end with connection. These are 2 of the most important things when you're managing or leading a workplace, and especially in this virtual world, they're the 2 that we're going to focus on, though there are plenty more that we could dive into today. Now, connection for me means that people are feeling engaged and connected to one another. They understand each other. My favorite way that you can do this right now and right away is through a mentorship program. And yeah, it might sound cliche or like we've been there, done that, Caitlin. But no, you can actually do this within your virtual workplace. And it could be one of the most powerful things that you implement during this time that you're all in the virtual work environment. It's possible, and I even have a guide step-by-step on how to implement a mentorship program within your workplace. Studies have shown that just one interaction between young and old can destroy any sense of ageism that was there.
Say what?
And not only young and old, but really department to department, personality to personality. It brings together people that otherwise usually don't interact, and it's so powerful. So if there's one thing you take away today, try and think about that. Think about implementing a virtual mentorship program, that one-to-one interaction that shows both parties you care and that someone cares about them. It really checks off so many things when it comes to employee engagement. So communication and connection, these 2 pillars will get you through a lot as a leader. And while it by no means covers everything we need to know when it comes to managing a modern workplace, it's a good start. So thank you so much for following along with Generation What? We're always going to be here for tips, strategies, advice on the generations, on figuring out this modern workplace, because guess what, folks, we're all in this together and we're all figuring out as we go. So leave a little room for empathy as you're dealing with your teams because nobody really knows what's going on right now. Can't wait to see you next time. And with that, Generation What is out.